got two for you. First, I wanted to ask you about Nick Perry and his development since the injury last year and his potential impact on your secondary.
Well, Nick's a guy that certainly has a lot of experience. He's played, in spots, but he's always been in the two deep, and he's got lots of reps and lots of turns. He's got a really good understanding of, our defense, and he has no physical side effects at all from the injury. He's recovered very well from that, and he's playing very well so far in this fall camp. And I think anytime you've got guys that have the kind of knowledge and experience that he has, it's certainly something that can be beneficial to you, because I think he can play a lot of positions, he can play a lot of spots, and he's always going to show up in the right place. So he's a very, very dependable guy for us.
And the other thing I've got, Coach Giffen, we asked him about Amari Cooper and T.J. Yeldon on Sunday, and he talked more about how hard they work than how good they are. I was wondering, from your point of view, what's the correlation when your most productive players also are some of your hardest workers?
Well, I think that I've been very fortunate through the years that, when the best players are the hardest workers and sort of play with the best intangibles, competitive character, whatever you want to call it, that's really what you dream about as a coach. The most frustrating thing that you have as a coach is when you have a guy that has ability, has talent, and he doesn't have those intangible things, the inner drive to sort of develop and do what he's capable of doing. Well, in both these guys' cases, they obviously have talent, but they also have the right stuff when it comes to the kind of competitive character they have and the kind of people they are. They go out there every day and work to improve and try to get better, and they aspire all the time, never arrive, never think I'm good enough, I don't have to do this anymore. And I think that kind of example, sets really well with other players on your team, can change the culture, of your team because of that. And those two guys are certainly guys that do that. But we have a lot of guys on offense, that do that. We probably have less experienced guys on defense. I mean, Landon Collins is that way, but we don't have a lot of guys on defense that have that kind of knowledge and experience right now. So we have a few, so it's going to be important to see how they mature.
Cecil.
Coach, I also have two. First, about a younger player, and everybody's asked about Jacob and Blake, but how has Cooper Bateman progressed spring and fall, and what's his development as a guy who's a redshirt freshman?
Right. Well, Cooper's gotten a lot better, since he's been here, and I think he's very athletic. I think the thing that we'd like to see him do is just be a little bit more consistent. He certainly shows at various times that he has the ability to make the plays that we need him to make, but it would be the consistency that I think would really take him a long way to being able to reach his full potential. Probably a lot of that is confidence. Some of it's probably technique. And those are the kind of things that we work on every day. But he has made dramatic improvement. But really, all the quarterbacks in this camp so far have really done well. I think that I think our offense has done, pretty well because of that. We make a lot of explosive plays, and we're doing a good job of getting the ball in the guys that can make those plays' hands. And the quarterbacks have done a pretty good job of distributing the ball with those guys. So I've been pretty pleased with how we've developed on offense. Most of the time defense is a little bit ahead, but it really does seem like our offense has shown a little more maturity and early signs of when the quarterbacks do well, we can be pretty good.
And also, and this isn't camp related, but it's a follow-up to something we talked about in February about four-year scholarships. The freshmen who are in now, when you recruited them, did they come in and sign four-year scholarships Does it make a difference? What are your thoughts on it?
Right, well, you know, I think that the perception out there is that the four-year scholarship is better for the player. And if that's the perception, that's okay with me. And we certainly do that here because we want our families and people who are involved in our program to feel the utmost security. But when you're on a one-year scholarship, you just couldn't take a guy's scholarship away just to take it away. It had to be something that was, you know, sort of a university policy, an athletic department policy, or something that the guy violated to be able to take it away. So in effect, the guy had a one-year scholarship that was automatically renewed for 4 or 5 years. And now, even though a guy has a 4-year scholarship, he still could have his scholarship taken away for the same violation of the same kind of rules. So, perception-wise, I think a lot of people think it's better for the players, and therefore that's what we would love to do, and we want them to feel comfortable. But in reality, there's not a whole lot of difference.
Mike?
There's still a responsibility that a player has to do what's right, you know, in terms of his part of the bargain, in terms of how he represents himself, his family, the university, the kind of student he is. It has nothing to do with athletic ability.
And that's true at every school.
And that's true in every sport. I mean, I can't speak for other sports, but
And you talked about Amari before, I just want to ask about the depth at receiver right now. How are those guys developing?
you know what? I think that you know, Chris Black and our younger players are doing well. You know, Stewart is doing a really good job. Our Darius Stewart. You know, Robert Foster is doing a very good job. So, you know, the young players have really sort of improved dramatically, and I feel they feel comfortable and confident. But I think there's 3 guys that are setting a really good example, you know, for them. You know, D. White is the same kind of guy, you know, hard-working guy, great special teams player, you know, best gunner on the team, him and Landon Collins, be the best guy on the kickoff, be the best guy on punt return. I mean, wherever you put him, that's how he plays, that's what he does, that's how he plays receiver all the time. You know, Christian Jones is the same kind of guy. Amari Cooper is the same kind of guy. So, you know, the culture of that group has been really good in terms of, you know, their work ethic and the chemistry they have, and the example the older guys set for the younger guys. And I really think that it's helped the younger guys improve dramatically.
Mark? What? Good. What?
You want to go first? Coach, just 2 questions. First, the autonomy, obviously, the voting for that is going to be this week. How do you see that going through the Power 5 conferences, the vote? How do you see that going through? And then second, the play of O.J. Howard, how is he looking again?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't really know about the Power 5 thing. I mean, you probably know more about it than I do. And, you know, once we start practice, I don't really read the paper, and I don't really know what's flying around out there. It's late when I get home. I don't know how it is at your house, but I don't get to pick what we watch on TV. You know, whatever Miss Jerry wants to watch, that's what we, you know, if it's a Love Boat, I gotta watch Love Boat, so it don't matter. All right, so, I don't get to watch Sports Center, I can't, so, I don't really know a lot about that, but O.J. Howard is doing really, really well. And, you know, he's gotten a little bigger, a little stronger. You know, he's improved some as a blocker, still has a way to go, but is really a mismatched player as a receiver, and having a guy like that, really, there's a lot of multiples in terms of how you can use him and create problems for the defense to have to adjust to him. So he's worked hard and responded well.
2 more real quick, DC.
I understand Eddie's on a pitch count, but have you been surprised just physically what he's been able to do in such a short time? I think it's less than 4 months since he's had surgery.
Well, I think he's right at about 4 months, and you know, it's been my experience that, you know, guys start running in about 3 months, and, you know, at 4 months, they can functionally do pretty much everything. You know, maybe they're not 100%. And then, you know, it takes a little bit more time for them to be ready to play football. And, you know, Eddie's kind of doing what he can do right now, and I'm pleased with the progress that he's made and where he is, and we just want him to continue to work, and it may take a while, you know, for him to get back to where he needs to be, but I think he's doing the things that he needs to do. You know, I mean, maybe he's not doing them 100%, but for him to be able to do it 100%, I think he needs to continue to do the things that he's doing right now and get confidence, and as his leg gets stronger, he'll be able to do it, you know, more and more effectively. So we're pleased with where he is, and I think with his experience and the kind of player he is, it'll be important for us to, you know, get him back.
Last one on the left.